We'll read this purport. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya tonvaya itarataschatvesha vignaswarat tene brahma hridayadikavye muhyanti yatsuraya tejo vari mudamita vinimayo yatratra sargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirastubham satyam param dhimahi. Umajnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So I'll just read few and then we'll have little discussions. Unless one surrenders unto the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, it is certain that he will be bewildered. When an intelligent, sorry, wait a minute. There's some problem in settings. So there is one important point I wanted to share here. So this Srimad Bhagavatam, it is actually talking about absolute truth and connecting to this question also. So here, unless one surrenders unto the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, it is certain that he will be bewildered. When an intelligent man surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna and knows completely that Krishna is the cause of all causes, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, then only can such an intelligent man become a Mahatma or great soul. But such a great soul is rarely seen. Only the Mahatmas can understand the Supreme Lord is the primeval cause of all creations. He is Param or ultimate truth because all other truths are relative to him. He is omniscient. For him, there is no illusion. So here, one important understanding what Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur he explains is that this Param Satyam, it is understood at different levels. That's why there is a confusion. This is, but what Bhagavatam does, Bhagavatam helps us to come to that highest level by making us give up our misunderstandings. So there are 8 levels of understanding. So that is what Prabhuji is also telling, and here also telling, unless we surrender, we cannot understand this how this Param Satyam. So the Param Satyam first is understood as Samshaya. Samshaya means doubt, whether he is there or not. So that understanding is cleared in the 3rd canto of when Brahma is also Samshaya. He knows something is there, but he don't know what it is. So he's searching. So he goes under the water here, there, and all. So at last Brahma then he understands. Okay, by practice of tapasya. And the second confusion about the absolute truth is it is nastika. No, it does not exist only. So this type of understanding is clarified with the pastime of Hiranyaksha. When he sees Varahadevi, he says, no, this is illusion, it does not exist. And then there is another type of misconception, that is nirguna, he does not have form. That is cleared after Hiranyakashipu's pastime, where he is also trying to negate everything. So this type of understanding, and then there is also 4th type of understanding is Klaibya, is mixed, is impotent and all these things. And then there is Purusha without energies, Purusha with energies. There is another understanding, and God as Mithuna, means he is with his female counterpart. So this is Lakshmi and Narayana. That means all these understandings of absolute truth are revealed. Means you will go further and further, and then we come to the highest understanding concept of absolute truth as Lord as Parakiya. So here Krishna is understood. So he's Param as the ultimate truth, and all other things are also an understanding, but this understanding that Krishna is supreme, we will be able to understand by reading Bhagavatam. So that understanding will be very nicely explained. So that means we can reach to the highest level of understanding the truth. So that is the greatness of Srimad Bhagavatam. So slowly by going through, all other misconceptions are cleared. Some are stuck up with some things, but Bhagavatam, that's why it is highest, and it is explaining Param Satyam is Krishna. So that is another thing. And one more explanation here, Prabhupada is talking about this part. Some Mayavadi scholars argue that Srimad Bhagavatam was not compiled by Srila Vasudev, and some of them suggest that this book was modern creation written by someone named Opadev. Still, Opadev didn't write. He is the first original. He is the first person to comment on Bhagavatam. It is not his work. This is he commented. I think before Sridhar Swami. That's why they think that it is from him. No, he is a commentator for it. That is the understanding. And in order to refute such meaningless arguments, Sridhar Swami points out that there is the reference of Bhagavatam and many other oldest Puranas. And this first shloka of the Bhagavatam begins with Gayatri Mantra. There is a reference of this to this in the Matsya Puran, which is the oldest Puran. And in that Puran, it is said that Bhagavatam, that is, that in it there are many narrations of spiritual instructions, and it begins with the Gayatri Mantra, and that it contains the history of Vritrasur. Now, this is very interesting. Now, Vritrasur's story is there in Mahabharata, Vritrasur's story is there in Rig Veda, Vritrasur's story is there in many other Puranas also. But why Bhagavatam, it is told that it is a book which contains the story of Vritrasur. Not only Matsya Puran, even Skanda Puran also says the same thing. It explains Gayatri Mantra and a story of Vritrasur. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, why not Gopis? Why not any other stories? Why not Gajendra? Why not Prahlad? Why only Vritrasur? So this is very interesting, because what Vritrasur represent in other Puranas, when the Vritrasur story is given, the hero is Indra. Indra kills a demon Vritrasur. In Bhagavatam, there is a twist. The twist is what? When Vritrasur is fighting with Indra, he immediately start meditating on the Lord. It's great devotion, that too at the level of gopis. Aham harer tava padaika moolam dasanudasosmi bhavitasmi bhuya manasmareta supater gunamste pranitaya karma karotu kaya nanaka prishtam na chaparyameshtim na sarvabhaumam na saradhipatyam na yoga siddhira punarbhavam va samanjasatvam कांक्षी अजात पक्षा इव मातरं कदा स्तन्यामितां वत्सधराक्षुदत्त प्रियं प्रियेव अभिशतं निशन्यं नमरो रविन्दाक्षति दीक्षते त्वाम्. So is intense feeling at the level of gopis, that is actually that is what is exhibited. Now he is in the battlefield and not in such a crisis that he is going to die now. At that time, he is completely absorbed in the Supreme Lord, and that too at the bhav of gopis. That is considered success. Now, you can say, Arey, gopis are also doing, na? Why not glorify gopis? Gopis, it is natural, means they are already set. But Vritrasur is indicating us that we can also reach that level. Gopis, we know, they are default only, they are like that. They are already six on a different level. But for us, inspiration will be more Vritrasur, but because it is at this level, no, it is not birth, because it's born in a demonic family, it is not the species or anything. It is, you can also develop it. So this pastime gives us the hope. So sixth canto represents the chest of the Lord, where the heart is there, where this devotional aspect, how we can grow to this level of Gopi Bhav, and even you are born in such a situation. So Vritrasur pastime. That is the reason the Puranas and all refers. This is the Purana where Gayatri Mantra is glorified and Vritrasur story is there. So in that way, Vritrasur story is very special, because sixth canto, and very important with the sixth canto is, it's a fight between mixed devotion and pure devotion. We have the pastime, and in this pastime, most important pastime is Vritrasur, because it's a fight between Indra and Vritrasur, and Narada and Daksha, and Vishnu Dutas, Yamadutas. So this whole canto goes with the fight between mixed and pure devotion, and especially the main hero is Vritrasur, and the villain, the culprit will be Indra here. So that's why this is there in Matsya Puran, Skanda Puran, like that. So And Vopadev, I don't know which Sampradaya, but that is the first commentary that is written by him. So, and then there is also mention of this Bhagavatam, other places of Prabhupada. Anyone who makes a gift of this great work on a full moon day attains to the highest perfection of life by returning to Godhead. There is a reference of Bhagavatam in other Puranas also, where it is clearly stated that this work was finished in 12 cantos, which includes 18,000 shlokas. This is from Padma Purana. Yeah, in the Padma Purana also, there is reference of Bhagavatam in the conversation between Gautama and Maharaj Ambarish. The king was advised therein to read regularly Bhagavatam if he desired liberation from material bondage. Under the circumstances, there is no doubt about the authority of Bhagavatam. Within the past 500 years, many erudite scholars and acharyas like Jio Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vallabhacharya, and many other distinguished scholars, even after the time of Lord Chaitanya, made elaborate commentaries on Bhagavatam, and the serious student would do well to attempt to go through them to better release the transcendental. So Prabhupada is recommending that we can go through all these commentaries. And there are almost like 50 commentaries on Bhagavatam. No other literature has that many. No other Puranas, no other Vedic scripture has so many commentators. How many Bhagavatam has? Bhagavad Gita has commentators, and Vishnu Purana also has, Mahabharatam also has. Bhagavatam has maximum number of commentators, almost like 50. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur specifically deals with the original and pure sex psychology, Adirasa, devoid of all mundane imperative. The whole material creation is moving under the principle of sex life. In modern civilization, sex life is the factual point of all activities. Wherever one turns his face, he sees sex life predominant. Therefore, sex life is not unreal. Its reality is experienced in the spiritual world. Material sex life is but a perverted reflection of the original fact. The original fact is in the absolute truth, and thus the absolute truth cannot be impersonal. It is not possible to be impersonal and continue pure sex life. Consequently, the impersonalist philosophers have given indirect impetus to the abominable mundane sex life because they have overstressed the impersonality of the ultimate truth. Consequently, man without information of the actual spiritual form of sex has accepted perverted material sex life as the all in all. There is a distinction between sex life, the diseased material condition, and spiritual sex life. So basically, what Prabhupada is trying to tell, why he is telling about this point and condemning Mayavadis is that when you say that there is nothing after this. So one of my friend, his son, he explained to his son that, see, after giving up everything, then you will go to a Brahman state, completely peace, and there is nothing, no variegatedness, nothing. And his son said, it is boring, I don't want to go. So this is actually the problem, what happens. So what Mayavadis, when they are stressing there is nothing, you just go into some Nirakar and Nirvishesh and Brahman. Then people say, anyway, there I cannot enjoy, so let me enjoy here only. So this is actually what, by overstressing the impersonality of, they have given indirect impetus to abominable material sex life. They say, okay, anyway, there I cannot enjoy, let me enjoy here only. So in that way, but if you tell people, no, there is something higher than this. You are enjoying something very trivial. It is not reality. You are enjoying a shadow, but there is a real object, the spiritual world, that real rasa. So then people may aspire for it. But the impersonals, because they are stressing that there is impersonal, there is nothing. You are actually trying to make people enjoy here only. So Srimad Bhagavatam will gradually elevate the unbiased reader to the highest perfectional stage of transcendence. So this we discussed. How different levels of misunderstanding. Of course, we cannot say complete misunderstanding, but that is their level of understanding of absolute truth, and that's how they see the world also. Based on our understanding of the absolute truth, our perception of the world also remains like that. So it will enable him to transcend the three modes of material nature: fruitive actions, speculative philosophy, and worship of the functional deities as inculcated in Vedic verses. Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham. So you have many things that are told in the Vedas. So people will transcend that. So anybody want to share anything on this before we go for the second verse? Okay, we'll just take the second verse. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayoन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरा तद्योऽद्यवरुध्यत्यत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिः तत्क्षणा. So this is a very important verse. We will have just translation first. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are mentally motivated or materially motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So here, what Bhagavatam is telling, the point here is Dharma Projita Kaitavatra. So now it is telling this Kaitava Dharma. So which is why this is Kaitava Dharma. Now all other things that are given in Bhagavatam, in the Vedic literature, Bhagavatam is telling they are all Kaitava. And that is the reason we say na Bhagavatam starts when Bhagavad Gita ends. Krishna is Sarva Dharman Paritita. Why you have to give dharmas? Because they are telling these dharmas are Kaitava Dharma. Because it has these four aspects: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. According to Bhagavatam, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha or Kaitava Dharma, the process. Because Bhagavatam here propounding highest Dharma, which is Pancham Purushartha. This Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha are Chaturpuda, four Purusharthas. But Bhagavatam is telling fifth Purushartha, and he is telling these four Purusharthas are Kaitava. These are all cheating only. One main reason, what is the point here is because Bhagavatam, he from the onset deals with the living entity as a spirit soul. Directly deals the living entity as a spirit soul and trying to make him reach that highest level, that is Jivera Swaruphoy Krishnera Nitya Das. That means we have to render service to the Lord. And now other things, other dharmas and all, they are actually, he is helping a living entity to continue his selfishness to enjoy this material world. Even dharma, artha, kama, moksha are selfish because it's a living entity is continuing to enjoy this material world in different ways. The liberation is the highest form of enjoyment for a living entity, and purpose is the highest form of expression of envy also, because you just don't want Lord, you just want to enjoy on your own. That means even all this for dharma, artha, kama, moksha is selfish tendencies. Only Bhagavatam, the highest Purushartha, that is, we want to serve the Supreme Lord, is the real selflessness. And that is what is for a living entity. And now if you go to any temple, they read this, the Sankalpa mantra is like that only. No? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Chaturvida, Phala, Purushartha, Siddhyartham. So people work for this, they want it. But Bhagavatam says, no. This is all Kaitava. This is the main part. But we'll see what Prabhupada is also clearly explaining this. Yeah, he says that he also started the same. Religion includes four primary subjects, namely pious activities, economic development, satisfaction of senses, and finally liberation from material bondage. Irreligious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins when religion begins. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating are the four principles of animal life. These are common both to animals and to human beings. But religion is the extra function of human beings. Without religion, human life is no better than animal life. Therefore, in human societies, there is some form of religion which aims at self-realization and which makes reference to man's eternal relationship with God. And Prabhupada is basically trying to tell at least you should learn to understand what is truth. If people don't even inquire for the truth, they're just living a animal life. Means they don't have even, yes, we don't have time. They just want to continue eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. They don't even make an endeavor to go in a direction to know what is the truth. And now, because of Kali Yuga, there and so much distractions because of this media and all, they don't have time for any of the things. And one of the important reason is because even though it's side point, but I'll just tell because it will help us understand. Because most of the people are working and which they don't like. They don't like their work they are doing. And then what happens, because they have spent a very good amount, 8 to 10 hours working, which they don't like most of the time. What happens is they want entertainment after coming. They want relaxation. Then they go for immediately entertainment. But previously, people used to work according to their own nature. Like Kshatriya, he does not need, he is satisfied with his work. Because they are satisfied with their work, they have time to, they go for self-realization. But now uh, people are not doing it. That's why they are going for something for entertainment. Yeah. Mataji, can you read the purport?
In the lower stages of human civilization, there is always competition to lord it over the material nature. Or, in other words, there is a continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities or religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, then so called religion is neglected. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is thriving economically, so at present he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques, or temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops, and cinemas than in religious places which were erected by their forefathers. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often, when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification.
Yeah. So second reason what Prabhupada is telling is, one is people are not satisfied. So second thing, people are economically well off because they do all the dharma part to be, dharma is for artha. They want economic. Now economically people are having good. Then they want shops, cinema halls and other entertainment. So proper time there was no internet. So proper did mention. So this is what they want. So when they are baffled in that, then they go for liberation. But last statement, what Prabhupada is telling, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. Dharma, artha, kama, and moksha also, all are sense gratification. They're all selfish. Bhagavatam, that's why from the outside said they're all kaitava. Just reject all of them. This is no use. Don't follow any dharma, artha, kama, moksha. You follow Bhagavad Dharma. You can read next paragraph. Anybody want to comment on it? Any questions?
In the Vedas, the above mentioned four activities are prescribed in the regulative way so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. But Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to all these sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature which can be understood only by the pure devotees of the Lord who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competitions. They do not compete with the materialists because they are on the path back to Godhead, where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not only free from material envy, but are well wishers to everyone, and they strive to establish a competition-less society with God in the center. The contemporary socialist conception of a competition-less society is artificial because in the socialist state there is competition for the post of dictator. From the point of view of the Vedas or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of material life. There are three paths mentioned in the Vedas. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of the demigods. And another involves realizing the absolute truth and his impersonal feature and becoming one with him.
So here the very nice point Prabhupada is making to avoid undue competition for sense gratification. The Vedas are prescribing a regulated life, and it gives like no. Okay, then there is a division in the society: Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha. It's all divisions, and the prescribed rules for them for that particular varna and ashrama helps a society to protect from undue competitions, because everybody is striving in their own direction. So competition will reduce and people can be little more helpful. But even that also Srimad Bhagavatam says no, no, no. It is also not good. And that's why it's a purely transcendental literature. Also, another important thing, Prabhupada is telling that there is a competition in this material world at all levels, from animals to the countries and nations. We can see that. Now, how that the devotee rises above such competition? Because he knows that only one hero is Krishna and I am only servant. Because his nature is to serve, for him, he don't want to become master. But in all these cases, they all want to be masters in their own area. And that's why it is not possible. So they can see, they do not compete with materialistic because they are on the path. They say, "Hey, everybody can go back home, back to God. It's not that only one post is there in the spiritual world." And that's when we see others are practicing, we want to inspire them. You are chanting 2 rounds, why don't you chant 16 rounds? And we see all are chanting 16 rounds. Devotees become very happy. We have so many 16 rounders in our society. So all my family members are 16 rounders, all my friends are 16 rounders. So we feel more joyful because we know this is so there is no competition. If somebody is want to attend Bhagavatam like this or chanting more rounds, we feel very, very nice devotees. So we feel very joyful. And somebody new people, we want to bring them also. So in that way, they are non-envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everybody is envious and everyone else, and also is competition. So if you want to make a competition-less society like communist, there is also a competition in that. We can see that it didn't survive and many clashes and all. Even they try for the post of dictator purposes. But from the point of view of Vedas or from point of view of a common human activity, sense gratification is the basis of life. So because their main aim is sense gratification, that's why there is a competition. Because the sources are limited, desires are so many. That's why there is a competition. But spiritual world, it's unlimited. and there is no competition. You can take your bead bag and chant. You can take your Bhagavatam and where is the competition? So there is nobody who will disturb us from going back home back to God. It is the disturbances, our own anarthas are disturbing. Otherwise, there is no competition. You sit and chant, there is a competition. You can sit and chant and go back home back to God. So that is the point here. And that's why all other things, this material world. So Prabhupada is telling the reality of this world. This is not the spiritual world. So, and there are three paths are mentioned, but they're all not correct. So highest is what even the demigod worshippers, going to a demigod worshippers and all. But if a person read Bhagavatam, he will understand what is the highest. Okay, next then.
The impersonal aspect of the absolute truth is not the highest.
Yes, Mukesh, bro, you want to add something?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhuji.
Then,
Prabhuji, many times we quote this that by Krishna consciousness there will be competition less society, but unfortunately we see that within our society also sometimes we see that it is uh, what you call not just spiritual competition, but there is material competition also. Means there is we can see that envy also is involved. Even like, so how to understand then where we are lacking, like that we want to provide to the world something, but we are we within ourselves, within our own society we see that this kind of problems are there, like that. How to handle the, where is the problem, like that?
yes, bro, because we are having the conditionings are still there for all, and everybody is struggling at different places. Not that suddenly we enter into spiritual life, we will give up all our conditionings and anarthas. We still have, and we will be struggling with each other to, we will be struggling actually. But we all know that this is not correct. And we have to, that is the reason we need to have like-minded association, which will help us to see our reality in front of us and help us to progress. And we cannot expect also, even when Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was there, his disciples also had problems. And Prabhupada says Bhaktisiddhanta left early because he could not see all these problems. In material world, it is the difficulty is there. Even in spiritual, we can see how Gaudiya collapsed. And no, they are not some ordinary people. They are very exalted. But this is how the reality of this material world. But what we have to do is personally we have to protect ourselves not to get influenced by that. And personally we have to have good association and do our sadhana sincerely. It is only very important. But we should know what is the highest truth, and we should aspire. And there are very sincere devotees also, very very from non-envious people also in our society. They should be our role models and examples. And only thing we can do is protect ourselves, and whoever is whom we can influence, we try to protect them. Otherwise, overall we cannot do much, because it is not possible. Even Gaudiya Math level also, which great sannyasis and gurus, they could not handle. And it happens all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
Practical level is protect ourselves. If you don't get influence, keep good association and protect the people under you, whom you are guiding. That much we should do. And we should always tell them to be non-critical, non-judgmental, which is not at all correct. Even if we see faults also, if we are not in a role to correct them and all, we should not criticize, we should not find faults. That is actually, if you criticize or find fault and all, we will start doing it after some time. That is also envy. So we say, if it is not affecting me, then I don't know what it is. Whether we don't know the intention of people, we just keep distance.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody criticizes, it is wrong. So we should not be critical, but protect yourself.
Mm-hmm. Because I was just observing, Proj, even small center we start any places, so first point happens is this point problem only happens. Whereas in lecture, we take this point only, that because of keeping Bhagavatam in the center, there will be competition-less society. So I was just thinking, which is that key, or are we missing something, some critical point that like that? So like that, I was thinking whether with which Bhagavatam is talking about, or it is a prerequisite that there should be Nirmat Saranam Satam, or it is also the what you call. Obviously, it is result, but can we wait for so long that it will when we will become pure devotee only, like that? I was just
Actually, what happens, bro? If see, there are two answers for this. One answer, na, when I say I'm starting a center and I'm facing problems, maybe problems from other devotees, I may be problem from management, I may be problem from outside people also, neighbors also. Then personally, when it comes, na, what we should see? We should see that they are my anarthas in the heart manifesting in this form. Maybe I had to intensify my sadhana, my hearing, reading, chanting, so that I'll be able to overcome these obstacles. So personally, when it comes, na, you should see my anarthas. Krishna is personally arranging these obstacles for me so that I'll get purified. It's not that at the end of life, how many centers we made will not count. At the end of life, how much we have cleared our anarthas from the heart is counted. Because you make 10 centers, but that does not guarantee for going back home back to Godhead. But you have cleared your 10 anarthas, then there is chance that we'll go back home, we'll be elevated. So we have this story. Now, if I go, I may go. So if I, this ahankar, these conditionings. So all these obstacles, personally, we should see as my own things that Krishna is showing in front of me. So it is not this devotee is troubling me. It is my own anartha is manifesting in this form. Maybe I had to clear something in me and it will go away. And you just sincerely sit and chant and hear and read. Slowly, you will see that they are going to reduce. And even if these challenges are there, and there is also one more thing what Lord want to tell is, in spite of this also, we can prove to Lord our desire to serve Him. So when obstacle comes, it's an opportunity to prove to Krishna, Krishna, in spite of this, I want to serve you. I will not give up. So there will be obstacles. And how much Prabhupada got? Prabhupada didn't get any flight ticket to America. He went through all the difficulties, heart attacks, then he reached America. For 1 year, no result. And none of his god brothers supported, no Gaudiya supported, no money, nothing. So why Prabhupada, why Krishna showed Krishna made that Prabhupada to encourage all of us. See, when you also go through this, it is personally you have to improve. And then we will be able to come out of it. But if you take it as in a negative way, why this, why management, why this, no, that is not actually our problem. That is not what we can influence. See, there is area of concern, there is area of influence. If you are, everybody is striving to improve on their own, there will not be problems. We want to improve others, then only there is a problem. So there are only of area of concern for us, Prabhu, society. What is lacking is chanting and reading is lacking. If you do it, all the society will be peaceful. But people focus on hearing and chanting, focus on some other things. They have some other fringe wheels, fringe goals, and other things. That's where the problem comes. And it happens also. Because what happens now, when I immediately now at this level, if I get a very big post and position, it may immediately go into my head, my hearing, reading reduces, then all my anarthas will manifest. And then I will try to control people or manipulate them or do some harm to them. This automatically happens because they are there in my heart. And I am getting a post and then all my anarthas are manifesting there. So better I should be careful. Okay, I should take something of my level and so that my hearing chanting don't reduce, so that I'll not trouble devotees. I will be able to handle the post also along with my sincere sadhana. But if I take something more than what I deserve, then it will be a problem. It was
yes,
okay,
yes,
bro?
yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much, bro.
Yes. We'll read further.
The impersonal aspect of the absolute truth is not the highest. Above the impersonal feature is the Paramatma feature, and above this is the personal feature of the absolute truth or Bhagwan. Srimad Bhagavatam gives information about the absolute truth in his personal feature. It is higher than impersonalist literatures and higher than the Gyan Kanda division of the Vedas. It is even higher than the Karma Kanda division and even higher than the Upasana Kanda division because it recommends the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. In the Karma Kanda, there is competition to reach heavenly planets for better sense gratification, and there is similar competition in the Jnana Kanda and the Upasana Kanda. The Srimad Bhagavatam is superior to all of these because it aims at the supreme truth, which is the substance or the root of all categories. From Srimad Bhagavatam, one can come to know the substance as well as the categories. The substance is the absolute truth, the supreme Lord, and all emanations are relative forms of energy. Nothing is apart from the substance, but at the same time, the energies are different from the substance. This conception is not contradictory. Srimad Bhagavatam explicitly promulgates this simultaneously one and different philosophy of the Vedanta Sutra, which begins with the Janmadi Asya Sutra.
Yeah, so here also we have how different Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, and Upasana Kanda. So there are three main divisions of the Vedas, and there is a competition from Karma Kanda to reach to heavenly planets, and Jnana Kanda and Upasana Kanda. Then there is same thing, sense gratification conception in Jnana Kanda and Upasana Kanda. But Srimad Bhagavatam is superior to all the and aims at the supreme. So this is what Prabhupada is telling. And then he's also telling, of course, this part maybe Prabhuji is discussing more detail. I'll not go how with this Srimad Bhagavatam and Vedanta Sutra. It's really very technical. And so, Gail Mataji, you had some question? Oh, she left. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, a couple of things. One is, what the passage that we just read reminded me of a point that was brought up in class today, that the Brahma Jyoti that's mentioned. I'm sorry. Brahman can be understood in two different ways depending upon the context. So it can be understood as the energetic, and I think in the Gita the way it's used is as maybe as the Brahma Jyoti. But I've always thought of the Brahman feature as the Brahma Jyoti. But in class today he seemed to make distinction between Brahman and Brahma Jyoti.
It is not distinction, mother. It is according to the means different. You can address Krishna also Brahman, and you can address his energy also Brahman. You can address the impersonal light also Brahman, and even living entities also called Brahman. So according to the context, the meaning changes and what you are addressing. So that is how, because if you understand that the same word can have many meanings and many things can be means many words can represent only one object also. So one can be soul also, mind also, could be also, like that. So according to the context, the meaning changes and then explanation changes. That's what I understand what Prabhuji was telling. So what Bhagavad Gita is telling about Brahman is one thing. What Vadanti Tattva Shloka Brahman is a different understanding. And there can be many other places where Brahman word is used. It is Atato Brahma Jignasa. So there are many places this word Brahman is used. So it has contextual meanings and addressing different things.
So when we talk about Brahman as one of the three features of God or the absolute truth,
God.
yeah,
So it
When
is
we talk about,
addressing directly Krishna only. Krishna only is manifesting in three forms. It is directly Brahman is Krishna. Tattva vadanti
yes,
tat tattva. It is
yes,
Lord.
yes. And so when, if you only have Brahman realization of the absolute truth, then you will perceive the absolute truth as having no features, right?
Yeah.
So that is why I've always equated that feature with Brahma Jyoti. So is that incorrect? Because Brahma Jyoti is his effulgence, the effulgence of the absolute truth, isn't it? So there's this confusion for me. Is it
No.
in this context that we're talking, where the Brahman feature is one of the three aspects, is it not synonymous with Brahma Jyoti?
I don't think, Mataji, what this meaning, this is not synonymous. This is not explaining that. This is explaining about Lord only. Lord's feature only is understood impersonal.
Because
Prabhuji,
Brahma Jyoti also seems impersonal, because Brahma Jyoti
Brahmajyoti is
as
the bodily effulgence of the Lord.
yeah, is if
Mataji,
and that effulgence is seems to be without features. No, it seems like that's just like energy, just like featureless energy. That's why I thought
I
that they were the same.
maybe we can have this discussion with Prabhuji once
no,
because my
Prabhuji, we
understanding
have
is
discussed this with Prabhuji in afternoon sessions, na? We discussed it, Mataji, when Prabhuji was telling this thing, that actually if you see Brahman, when we say Brahman, what you are saying, Mataji, that Brahman is Brahm Jyoti, the effulgence of the Lord. That is true
Yeah,
only. So when we are saying Brahman, we might be meaning that he is the effulgence of the Lord. But that is for whom? That is for a person who is not so elevated in his understanding of the Lord. But
yeah,
if you go beyond the light, beyond that, effulgence is Krishna only, na. Ultimately, it is
yeah,
Krishna's effulgence only. So it is non-different. So in that way, Brahman and Brahm Jyoti, Brahman is Brahm Jyoti, you are right. But beyond that Brahm Jyoti, beyond that effulgence, is the person Krishna, whose effulgence he is. So in that
yeah.
way,
I know.
we are saying
no.
they are
What Mataji's
non-different.
question is no. What Mataji's question is this Brahman, which word is mentioned, is it Lord Krishna or his effulgence? That is the question.
So
So
that
I
is
am
they are
telling that
non-different. Brahman, Krishna and Krishna's effulgence.
No,
No,
no.
Prabhuji
My
told
question
that
is,
Brahman is not the energy. He is energetic only.
no. My
then what
question
about
is,
this? Yes, Mataji.
my question is this: Brahman is the featureless aspect of Krishna. That's the featureless aspect. And so my question is, this featureless aspect called Brahman, is that synonymous with this word Brahmajyoti, which is his effulgence?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Right.
They are not different. They see that energy as the Lord. That is his aspect only. They see energy is only the supreme. So they can see only the energy part.
Yeah,
So that is how. So we can say it is the same only one way, because it is his energy in that way. They can see only that much. That is the impersonal part only they can see. That's why Ishopanishad is, no.
yeah. So those who can only see Brahmajyoti, right? Because they've only gone that far in their
Hiranmayena
maturity.
patrena satyasyapi hitam mutam. Yeah, they have seen that much. Hiranmayena patrena.
Yeah, they've only seen that much. So
Yeah,
when we say they've only seen that much, which is his effulgence,
yeah,
doesn't that mean that they are Brahman realized?
yeah. Yes.
So
Brahman realized.
yeah, Brahman realized means you have only experienced the Brahmajyoti, the effulgence of Krishna. You have not
Yeah.
gone further.
Yeah, Sat
So-
feature you
so-
will experience.
Yeah, so therefore, you know, in other words, you seem to hesitate to agree that Brahman and Brahmajyoti are synonymous. It seems like you're not so comfortable with that.
It is synonymous only, but Lord Krishna can also be called Brahman. And but that understanding is this means their energy part only you can understand. Means when you say Tattva is Brahman, that much feature is only understood, but that is directly Krishna only. Krishna is also called Brahman. Not only just
Yeah,
energy,
yeah,
but
that's
Krishna can
okay.
also be called Brahman.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. 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 And Prabhu, just one other thing. Is it incorrect to say that Krishna's Bahiranga Shakti emanates from Krishna? You know, we say that his Bahir Shakti is he possesses this Shakti, but is it also correct to say that it emanates from him, or is it better to say that he possesses it?
When you
Because you
call,
know
when
the
you can
when
explain two ways, Mataji. When you say Sarva Karana Karanam, when Krishna is told Sarva Karana Karanam means is the cause of it. That means it is coming
yes,
from him. But when you say that he already, there is when you have the shlokas that that everything is there, no? Natvevaham Jatanasham. So when you say that there was never a beginning, that means it is always there. But if you say Karana Karanam, then you say it is having a cause also. So in that way, it's cause of all causes also, and they are always existing also. There is Anadi Radhir. So if Lord is Anadi, the energy is also Anadi. There should not be beginning. When you say Sarva Karana Karanam, it has a cause. In that way, it is Achintya also. It's inconceivable for us.
yeah, yeah. The reason why I was asking if you can use this word emanate is because you know this
Yeah.
word emanate kind of implies that you know the Bahir Shakti is coming from his Swarup Shakti, but that's not right.
Yeah, because when you say Anadi, there is no beginning. If there is no beginning, means it is always there. But when you say it has it's so emanating, then means beginning. But it is inconceivable that we should understand. It is not understood at our level how it is.
Yeah, I think it means that Anadi means that the external energy
It is also Anadi.
has its source in has its source in Krishna, but not in his Swarup.
It's not
You know,
so basic.
yeah, it's the external energy eternally has its source in Krishna, but not in the Swarup of Krishna, like this.
Yes.
So if we say like that, if by emanating from Krishna, that is what we mean, then it seems like it's okay to use this word
Yeah.
emanate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank
So
you so
Mukesh
much,
Prabhu
bro.
asked a question, but Parabrahman is not same as Brahma Jyoti. No, bro. Parabrahman is Krishna only.
Actually, Prabhuji, I
Yes.
want to make this point that Bharam Shakti Prabhuji, when he was explaining us this thing, I think he said that Brahman, actually, when we say Brahman, so when devotees are saying Brahman, they are able to see the person behind that light. So when they devotees are saying Brahman, for them, that Brahman is Krishna only. So it
Hmm.
depends on the realization of that person. It depends from person to person what he is able to see. So it is not, they are actually one only. In one sense, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan are one only. So for a devotee, he is able to see the person who is standing behind the Brahm Jyoti. So for him, that he is seeing the person directly. So for him, Brahman is Krishna. But for someone is not has does not know about this, who does not have this much faith in the Bhagwan feature of the Lord, and does not accept the superiority of Bhagwan, or is just on the level of, he's not a pure devotee, but he is just on the level of this Gyan yogis and all these such people, when
Yeah,
they are saying Brahman, then they are referring to, they are not able to see the person who is behind that effulgence. So it depends. That same word has different meanings according to that the individual who is speaking. It's like that. So in
yeah,
Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says Brahman, that he is the basis of the Brahman. So there Krishna means that actually Brahman is the effulgence of his body, and so it is dependent on him in that way. But this shloka Vadanti, this shloka here, Brahman is Krishna only. But just it's just the people who have not realized this Bhagwan feature completely, they just say this Brahman like that.
yeah, yes, it is clear. Thank you. Ramanam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
This emanation, actually, according to Sri Vaishnavas, they say it is coming directly from the Lord. Just as they give the example of this spider. The spider, from the spider itself, the web is coming, where the cause is different and effect is different. But according to us, as Mataji said, what does emanation means? Which is unmanifested form is getting manifested. That time only we can say it as emanation. Otherwise, it is eternally the Shakti of the Lord, which is not in the Swarupa. So emanation comes here, and there is a subtle difference according to, according to Shankaracharya, they say it is only Maya. That's all. So there is a subtle difference.
Yes, this made very clear. Yes, sir. Thank you, thank you. So nice. So what Prabhuji is telling is, because it is unmanifested and it is manifesting, that's why we use the word emanating. But whereas Swarup Shakti, it is always there, and even this Shakti is also there. It does not transform, it is always there. That's why we don't call it emanating. Yes, sir. Thank you. Sarita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavats. Thank you for the wonderful points that you quoted at the beginning of the class, which are more relishable. And can I add something which Gail Mataji is about? She's quoting some, she's having a doubt for Brahman word. Just I want to make a note that I am reading from the purport of Prabhupada only. Brahman means in Canto 10, Brahman means here it is there. Brahman means unlimited. That is Krishna only. Means it is, as you said, it is according to the aspect, the word changes. In Canto 5, Brahman means spiritual. Brahman means actually spiritual. Supreme Brahman means, as you said, Supreme Param Brahman means Krishna only. And in Canto 4 also, the Supreme Person, Brahman means here it is directly quoted that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev. And here, in some context, it is there, Brahman means to engage in devotional service. So we should, therefore, we should learn from Acharyas only in what mode that word has expressed its meaning. We cannot directly say that particular word relates to this context, and so we have to learn from Acharya only in what context that word has its meaning. And so we cannot directly say Brahman means it's an effulgence of Lord. According to the context, it changes. Even in Srimad Bhagavad Gita also, the word Brahman has changed its meaning. At the beginning of the chapters, we see Brahman as Brahmajyoti only. Later, the word transform its meaning. That's what I just want to convey. Sorry if I had committed any.
No, no, Mataji, we want to share it. Thank you for your research. You have nicely made research and you are sharing. It is very nice. We want more and more devotees to participate. So
Thank
we'll
you.
end our session here. We have covered 1 hour. Thank you all very much. We'll meet tomorrow with and continue our discussion. Thank you all very much. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.